I pay attention to the chest. It's absolutely normal chest. Maybe it's a patient with barrel. You can here you see barrel chest, little pigeon pillow. You see that? Kyphoscoliosis. Yeah. Imagine this patient has normal chest. I pay attention to breathing. He's breathing normally, so he has about 15-16 breaths per minute, so it's in normal range from 14 till 20. If I saw that the patient is breathing superficially and frequently, I will describe that I see tachypnea here. If you see some cyanosis, you also can describe. It's inspection, so we observe chest deformities, observe the breathing pattern. Yes, it's normal or abnormal. It's, sorry?
Face, like paler.
If it is paler, well, of course, but I don't think that you will meet the patient with paler. I don't think. So it's normal breathing. Now I start palpating the patient. I start palpating, we should palpate both the anterior chest and posterior. I start palpating, I'm looking for any tender areas. I palpate symmetrical the patient from the anterior side. Now I palpate the patient from the posterior side. I identify that no tender areas. Now, part of palpation is also Fremitus test. I put my hands to balls, not like this. You all perform like this. Put my hands, ask the patient to say 99. So 3 positions from anterior point, 4 from posterior. 99, 99. They're symmetric. I feel absolutely symmetric palpations. Now, and don't forget, so when we are examining the posterior chest, we should ask the patient to sit down. It's better to and when we are assisting the anterior part, it's better to ask the patient to lie down. But you can inspect the anterior also when the patient is sitting, but you offer this SPV patient, please have your seat, I want to inspect your posterior. Please lay down, I want to inspect your anterior chest. Now, parameters from the posterior view. I put my balls, 99, 99, 99, 99. So, and palpation is also, chest expansion test is part of palpation, yes? How I perform? I put my thumbs along the costal ribs, along. Other 4 fingers I grasp along the lateral wall of the chest. I slide my fingers medially and try to rise the foot. It's not easy. In real patients also it's difficult. So I rise the foot. Ask the patient, please do a deep inspiration. What happens? The thorax expands and our fingers should go away from the chakras. What do we pay attention? Why we perform this chest expansion? To see how do they move, symmetrically or asymmetrically. For example, I perform this test, ask the patient to have deep inspiration, and I pay attention that this my left hand goes away, but it's the finger, this left hand stays. So there is asymmetric expansion. It means that I have some problems over here. It may be fluid accumulation, tumor, and so on. We should perform it from the anterior view. Also, I put my thumbs along the 10th costal ribs, slide them medially, rise the foot, and ask the patient to do maximum expiration. And I see that my fingers move symmetrically. So, the main reason why we performed to look for the asymmetry of chest expansion. You understand? Otherwise, when you look to the patient, you couldn't identify that this part, they don't move symmetrically. It's very difficult. That's why we use our hands. It's palpation. So, tender areas, fremitus, and chest expansion. Now we start auscultating the patient. I put my stethoscope and ask the patient, please do 1 more cuff, patient coughs 2 or 3 times. Please breathe with your open mouth. And what I'm looking for. Remember these points. Oh, no, before auscultation, we have percussion. Okay, so sorry. So, I start percussion. There are 7 points from the anterior, there are 6 points from anterior view and 7 from posterior. But it is enough to percuss minimum 5. But try to percuss all of them. So, I start percussing.
When we do
It's fourths, then comes fifths, 6, 7. it was fourth, fifth,
6 बोला था
six,
period.
7.
No, we can keep
Six.
like this or like this.
It doesn't matter.
Parallel.
When we are percussing for diaphragmatic exclusion, we need to keep it horizontally, but it does not matter. And we stand a bit right, not behind the patient, and keep our hands a bit upright, yes? So it were 7 positions percused, now, no, 6 positions, now from the posterior side. Six. And so 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Symmetrically. 1, we skip here right here. From the fifth, you can add one pattern. It's percussion, yes? Now, we should identify now the chest as a diaphragmatic exclusion. How we identify? The patient is breathing quietly. We expect that normal, healthy person should have this diaphragm somewhere here, yes? So I start percussing the patient a bit above. So I keep my finger, I expect this level somewhere here. I keep my finger just above and parallel of the expected level. Start percussing. Percuss and I go. Here I hear resonance.
Yeah.
Resonance. Here it is changed with down. So the normal person who is breathing quietly has diaphragmatic level somewhere here. I remember this ask the patient to have deep inspiration and please keep it for 3 more seconds. It's the same. And what does it mean? That this diaphragm in normal person should shift down. It's normal, yes?
Yeah.
So here I hear downwards, but now I hear resonance. I continue striking downward and I identify that downwards is somewhere here. So this diaphragmatic level is somewhere here. It's the lowest level of the diaphragm during maximum inspiration. Then I ask the patient to do it quickly because the patient cannot keep the inspiration more than a few seconds. Please do maximum expiration. The patient did. Normally, the diaphragm should shift upward. So here I continue striking and I identify that here the downest I percuss just here. This distance between the lowest position and the uppermost position is diaphragmatic exclusion. The normal diaphragm, while the patient was breathing quietly, was somewhere here between these 2 positions. Its normal position is position during maximum inspiration, its position during maximum expiration. Now some students don't understand what happens during pleural effusion, so it's enough. I will show you this auscultation process and then describe what happens during several visits. So I finish, I identify that diaphragmatic exclusion is, for example, 4 centimeters. It's normal. Maybe you should not perform, but you should explain how it is performed. So percussion is So now I will auscultate the patient. I ask the patient, please do one more time. Please breathe with your open mouth, and I'm listening the whole one breathing cycle. It means that the whole inspiration and whole expiration. I use my stethoscope and start I auscultate the same, almost the same points as we use in percussion. Also use ladder pattern. Patient is one whole breath, senses there, here, 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 here. The same here. Now from anterior view, we should examine the, don't forget to listen the apexes, they are above the clavicle. One, here, here, here. So I'm using the ladder pattern, yes? It's auscultation. Now, why, for example, understand?
Yeah.
Easy. But when I ask you to perform, for example, we are performing the chest diaphragmatic exclusion test. I expect that this normal person, I don't know what the problem the patient has, I expect the level somewhere here. So I put my finger just above. I percuss, I hear downwards. It's abnormal, yes? I expect resonance. I went upward. I don't go downward because the resonance will be above downwards, yes? Because always fluid accumulates in the lower parts of the pleural space. It's down, 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 it's resonant. So this expected level is somewhere here. What can be the reason for this?
Diffusion.
If there is some solid lung tissue, so maybe pleural effusion, huge cell tumor, or big pneumonia, yes? And I do the diaphragmatic exclusion test. So expected level, I identify somewhere here. I ask the patient, please do deep inspiration. The patient inspires deeply, but I see that this diaphragmatic level does not change, does not move this level downward. It stays there or moves for a few centimeters. Ask the patient to do deep expiration, and I expect that this diaphragm should rise, move upward, yes? And see that also it's moved a little. So execution is very few, less than normal. In pleural effusion, it will be decreased, the execution, yes? Now imagine we have, for example, pneumothorax. So what happens? Pneumothorax has which perfusion? So I expect that the patient has some problem, or COPD or asthma, where there's excess air in the lungs. I expect the diaphragmatic level somewhere here, so I start perfusing a little above. I perfuse hyperresonance, 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 and here is done. So the expected level, normal level, is much below than I expect, because lungs are overinflated and filled with excess air. So I identified that diaphragmatic level is somewhere here instead of expected level here. I perform the chest expansion, diaphragmatic exclusion, ask the patient to have deep inspiration. I expect that this diaphragmatic level should shift down, yes? I continue perfusing downward, and I identified that it is shifted, but a little. I asked to make maximum expiration. The diaphragm should shift upward, but it was shifted also a little. So this distance between maximum lower level and maximum upper level is less than 2. So in this case also exclusion will be less. You understand? So understand or want me to repeat? So and imagine I am listening I'm vibrating and palpating for parameters. 99, 99, 99, 99. I feel that I don't feel any vibration. So stability is decreased. What can be the reason?
Like pleural effusion.
Pleural effusion.
Pneumothorax.
COPD. Asthma. Pneumothorax. I'm imaging. I'm performing the parameters test. 99, 99, 99, 99. And I feel the vibration here is increased.
Pneumonia.
Only case when it is increased is pneumonia. Now, and also in auscultation, don't forget to perform for transmitted voice sounds. I forget for egophony. So egophony, it means I ask the patient to say E. I use the stethoscope, I hear E. I ask the patient to say 99, 99, and I hear 99, but muffled. Muffled. And ask the patient to whisper 99. I hear very muffled, or maybe I hear no sound. I perform this egophony. So I ask the patient to say E, E, E. Here I hear A. What can be the reason?
Pneumonia.
Others is here, maybe pneumonia. I ask the patient to say 99, and I listen 99. 99, 99. I hear louder voices. Also pneumonia. Yes. Imagine, I ask the patient to say 99, 99, 99, 99. Here, they are absent. They sound. Maybe
Pneumothorax.
Asthma. You understand how you perform. So we will repeat it several times before your OSCE, but I want you to know it by heart. It's not easy, it's not difficult, but read my presentations and remember the points where you should palpate, where you should perfuse, where you should also